Welcome, Antonio here from Hireflix. In this brief demo, I'm going to show you how simple it is to connect your Zoho Recruit account with your Hireflix account so that you can launch one-way video interviews from within Zoho Recruit itself. This integration will allow you to trigger these interviews individually or in bulk from Zoho itself. You'll be able to track completion seamlessly from Zoho, and you'll be able to also review the answers from Zoho itself. It has everything you need. As you know, Hireflix is regarded as the world's most user-friendly and simple one-way interviewing tool. We work with thousands of companies worldwide and exist only with the sole purpose of giving you the most simple and flawless one-way interviewing experience in the world. Wonderful, let's get started. The first very important thing you need to do is determine which kind of Zoho Recruit account you have. There are two kinds, the ones that have the applications module available and the ones that do not have it. Usually, if you have an older account, you won't have the applications module enabled. If you're using one of the newer accounts, then you will have the applications module available. This is important because it has an impact into some of the next steps that we're going to be taking. So keep this in mind through this demo. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create two different stages on your hiring pipeline. One of them is going to be the trigger stage, which is what's going to automatically trigger your interviews. And the second stage is going to be your progression stage, which is where completed interviews will automatically go. To add these new stages, you have to go to Setup here on the top right, and then go to Hiring Pipeline. Now, if you're using one of the older accounts, you will not see Hiring Pipeline here. So all you have to do is search for it here at the top, and it will appear as Hiring Pipeline. This is where you will land. So let's go ahead, create our trigger stage and our completed stage. To do that, click Manage Status. Click here, Add Options in Bulk, and then type Send Hireflix Interview, and below Hireflix Interview Completed. Now select the stage, interview, and then click Add Choices. As you can see, those stages have now been added here. Let's click Save, and you will now be able to see them under the interview group here. Next, make sure to put these stages in whichever position makes most sense. So for example, we're going to put them there, completed after send, and it's all saved already. Now that we have the stages created, we can proceed with the next step. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to activate the integration from the marketplace. So let's go to Setup, then Marketplace. You can also search it there, and then find Hireflix here on the list of available apps. Once you find it, click Install. Now accept these two terms of use and click Install. Click Continue. Click I have agreed, install now, agree and continue. And very important, install for all users. And you are set. What we've accomplished with this is we've added a new field on our candidate records. And that field is called Hireflix Interview URL. And that's where you will find the completed video interview once it's done. Keep in mind that if you're using a newer account with the applications module enabled, you'll be able to find the completed interview on the application record under the notes section once done. Don't worry, I'll show you everything in the rest of the video. Okay, so now we've added our stages, we've activated the integration here. The next step is to activate the integration from Hireflix. Okay, so let's go to our Hireflix account, your account, integrations, and then find the Zoho Recruit integration there. Enable it, and you can now connect to your Zoho Recruit account. Log in using your credentials, accept, and you are all set. Once you've connected, you can go ahead, click I've watched the video, and then you can continue. You can see that this is now enabled. Okay, so let's do now the very final step. We need to go to Zoho Recruit and create an automation so that once interviews are moved to the trigger stage, they automatically trigger the interview on Hireflix. Go to Setup, Automation, Workflow Rules, and we can now create our rule. Click Create Role. Very important. If you have the applications module available, that's the one that you need to use. If you have an older account where there is no application module, then you need to use the candidates module. Very important to pick well here. In my case, since I have the applications module, that's the one that I have to pick. Role name, you can put Hireflix trigger and then click next. It doesn't really matter which name you put. Okay, so now you are here. The only difference you may see if you have an older account is that here it says candidates instead of applications. That's totally fine. When do you want to execute this role? On a record action. We want this to trigger once the status changes. And it changes really from any status to our trigger stage, which you can find here, which is send Hireflix interview. We click next. We do this on all applications or all candidates. If you have one of the older accounts, we click next. And then we click instant actions, webhooks. Wonderful. First of all, we're going to put a name to this webhook. It doesn't matter. We're just going to put Hireflix webhook. And very important, we now have to find the URL to notify. Where do you find that? In Hireflix. Go to Hireflix, click configure here, advanced settings, and you will find your webhook URL here at the bottom. So just click to copy, go back to Zoho, paste it there, and let's continue. Here, make sure it says post. Description, don't worry. Authorization type should be general. And very important, we have to configure this properly, otherwise this will not work. Here there is a difference if you have an applications module or if you don't, so please bear with me. For those of you that have the applications module available, you have to add 3 different parameters here that I'm going to show you right now. If you do not have the applications module, you're going to have to add only 2 of those. Okay, so this is what you need to add if you have the applications module. Application ID, applications, application ID, candidate ID, candidates, candidate ID, job ID, job openings, job opening ID. If you do not type this exactly as you see it here, this will not work. And this includes capitalizing the I from ID only on each parameter. So as you see, the I from ID is the only character that is capitalized on each one of these parameters. Make sure that you type it exactly as you're seeing it here. If you have one of the older accounts where you do not have applications, you will not have to add this top line here. You'll only have to add candidate ID on candidates, candidate ID, and job ID on job openings, job opening ID, and that's totally fine. You'll be set. Okay, so let's continue. Let's just click Save and Associate, then Save here at the bottom. And with this, we are done with the workflow rules. You can see it here. It says Hireflix trigger. It is active. Make sure that it is active in your case. And the last thing we need to do is set up the progression stage. So let's go into Hireflix. Let's go to your integrations. Go to Zoho, advanced settings. And here on the progression stage, let's go ahead and let's search Hireflix interview completed. Very important. This way, once interviews are completed, they'll be automatically moved to this stage. Now that we are here, there are some other helpful things you can manage from here, such as tags. Automatically, they will appear once you invite someone, once they complete the interview. You can stop this by untoggling this. You can also decide how long the links to the answers are going to be accessible from Zoho Recruit. Don't worry, the videos, as you know, they are active from your account for as long as you have a license with us, unless you have a retention that you need to comply with. In that case, we have a feature that automatically deletes videos, but the link in Zoho is the one that you can control how long it's going to be active from here. And that's it. You can save. And now we're ready to start using the integration. Okay, so let's do an example. Let's say you have a position, in this case, assistant to the regional manager, and you want to invite someone to the interview there. So let's just click there. In this case, we have 2 people here, more specifically 2 applications that are linked to 2 specific candidates. Or if you have the other version of Zoho Recruit, then this would just be 2 candidates that are associated with this particular position. It all works the same, don't worry. And as you can see now, your hiring pipeline has this interview stage where inside we've set up our new stage. So if I pick these candidates and I click change status, I now can find here the send Hireflix interview status. And if I change to that, they'll be automatically invited. However, How does the system know which interview to send to these people? That's the other thing that you need to do from Hireflix. So very important. For this to work, you have to make sure that here you have the right position connected with the right interview. So go to Zoho Recruit, configure, and this table is key. You have to pick here your Zoho Recruit position and the interview you want to launch, and then you need to click connect and save. Wonderful. So now it will work. If you forget this, then it's not going to work. Even if you change those candidates or those applications to the right stage, it's not going to trigger anything. You need to make sure that you first connect the position here. Don't worry, you only have to do this once per position, and then you never have to do this again. Okay, so now that we have the position connected, we can trigger interviews by moving candidates to the right stage, in this case, the Send Hireflix interview, seamlessly. And you can, of course, do this in bulk with many people at a time. So we just move the candidate. Okay, got it. And if we go into Hireflix, you're going to see that indeed Jim was just invited automatically to the interview. You can also see that Jim moved to the stage here. And if you go inside of this application or candidate, you can even see that a tag, Hireflix interview send, automatically appeared there. Okay, so what happens now once Jim completes the interview? So now Jim has completed the interview. If we refresh, you will see that now has moved to the Hireflix interview completed stage. And if you go to this particular application or candidate, you're going to see that on the notes section, you have direct access to the link so that you can watch the answer straight away. Keep in mind that if you're using the other Zoho version, you do not have the applications module. To find this link, you'll have to go to the candidate profile. And then on the candidate profile, there'll be a section on other info where you have the Hireflix interview URL field, and you can find the link there. If you're using the newer version, you'll have it in both locations, both on the candidate record as well as on the notes section in the application record. So let's click on this link, and the interview opens right away together with the transcripts, and you have everything you need. Very important, you do not need to log in into Hireflix or have a user to watch this interview. So anyone from your team that has access to this candidate on Zoho can directly access the interview from Zoho itself. And with this, we finalize our demo. Please reach out anytime if you have any questions. I'd love to help you. This is all we do every single day, day in, day out. We're obsessed about one-way video interviewing and making it as flawless and user-friendly as humanly possible. So please contact us anytime, and I'll be here ready to help. Have a lovely day.